Hi, this is Roger Smith of the True Brew Lounge. Please like and subscribe. And today we get to talk to a 64 graduate, Mr. Junior Blake. And let me just go over to him now. Mr. Blake, how are you doing, sir?
Good, Roger. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. But listen, I'm not a 64 graduate, my class is 69.
Yeah, may I put age by you? All right, we have a
No, no, you're
69
not putting no
graduate.
age from me. You spoil up the history.
All right, all right. So let's get this right. This is a 69 graduate. So,
Well, class of 69, yes.
class of 69. And even though I made a mistake, I won't cut it out just for sure the
No, man. No,
authenticity.
yeah, man.
Oh,
It's, yeah.
69 graduate. All right, good, good, good.
And
So,
interestingly enough, today I was at Mannings welcoming the new class, being part of the alumni association and being an alumni myself. And of course, I recognize that today was 60 years since since 1964 when I started Mannings. And a little bit of history for you. That was the first year that they introduced the September commencement for the new year, for the new school year. So I went to school the year 1964, the year that was the first year that people start classes, start a term, start, in the new year in September.
all right. I have to once again thank you again for blessing this forum, and we're going to have some fun. So, I have a series of questions, but, this is nothing to do with me. This is all about you. It's getting to know Mr. Blake. So, what part of the country did you come from, sir?
I call myself a Westis. I'm from Westmoreland. So I was born in Savannah, Lamar. My family, my maternal family roots is especially in Beeston Spring. I don't know if you ever hear about that place
No.
up in the hills in Westmoreland. And then, of course,
When you
on the
when you say up in
paternal,
the hills, which part in the hills? Tell
well,
tell with the
in,
road them.
in the eastern part of the island. So to head to Beeston Spring, you can, if you go to Bluefields, you can
Uh
turn
huh.
up the hill. Bluefields, go through Brighton, Robbins River, so forth, so on, and head up there. Or you can go from Akendong, drive up the hill, go through a couple villages. You can go either Petersville or Robbins River. You can go from White House. From White
Never
House, you
heard of
go
it.
through.
Is it near Lennox Big Goods?
Yeah, man, it's pretty near to Lennox Big Woods.
All right. You
And
see,
then
so me
and
know.
this,
You see, so me know me geography though. Me know me I
yeah,
talk about. Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know it
Lennox Big
somewhere.
Goods.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Eastern Westmoreland, so politically, that's part of PJ's. When PJ, that constituency that PJ Patterson was MP for. That's the constituency.
Okay, okay. So, what primary school did you go to?
Went to South Primary.
Okay. So, how did you? I'm assuming that manboard bus wasn't running them time there. So, how did you get from up in the hills if you go down to Savlamar if you go primary school?
I wasn't living in the hills when I went Mannings. When I
Okay.
went to primary school, by the way. Yes, sir. Basically, as I said, that's my family, my maternal family base.
See.
So basically, we had a strong connection there since anytime holiday time come. If we weren't doing active in school or any kind of activity, that's where it would be. Because, we'd spend time with our grandparents, aunts, uncles, kind of stuff up in the hills. But basically, I lived in South, and that's another story too. And so, I went to from kindergarten all the way to high school. I did in South.
Okay, okay. So, so give me. So you're in New York now, yes?
Yes.
So give me a little. Walk me through your journey, from graduating high school to where you are today, and then I'll dig a little bit around if that's okay with you, sir.
Yeah, yeah, not a problem. Yeah, well, basically, after I did sixth form at Manning, so 71 was the time I left Manning's. And after I left Manning's, I did a little stint at the Grace Food Processor up at Paradise. You might be familiar with that space.
Yeah, I know.
And after that, I then went to the University of the West Indies from there. Um, and then later on, about 2 years later, I transferred from the University of West Indies to Columbia University in New York. And after that, I did some studies at Lehman College, the City University. I also studied microcosmic science in New York at a school founded by a Jamaican naturopath, the Health Maintenance Institute. And then I joined a Melchizedek School of Philosophy, the Universal Sanctum of Meditation, where I studied esotericism. I also studied a little bit of Hawaiian spirituality. I studied a lot of Kemetic philosophy and that kind of stuff. So, that's basically the main part of my life after I left Mannings, and before I really got seriously involved in survival life.
So, what is it with the need to learn? Because you seem to have studied quite a bit. What is it? What drew you into the learning business?
That might have been the influence of Manning's, the Vita Senior Literatus more says.
Okay, life without learning, death.
But yeah, that might be a part of that. But yes, that's one of the things that I have engaged in and have come to like just studying certain things. So, like me, for example, one of the things that I am strongly interested in studying, even at my elder state here, is mathematics. That's basically when I reach a stage where I don't have anything to do on a daily basis, I want to indulge in the study of mathematics, the philosophy of mathematics.
Nice, nice, nice. So, please humor me. So, let me ask you this: when you drink a juice, what you drink?
Oh well, something. The juice I really like is vegetable juice. But I'll tell you this though, an occasional beer or a stout is all right with me, and even some wine when it's sweet. But really, no, nowadays I'm kind of tempering my sweet tooth, so I don't know. I might one day learn to appreciate dry wine.
Nice, nice. So, if you eat a food, what is it?
Not to disturb you, but yeah, I don't, I can't say that I really enjoy roots, but I drink them. You know what we call roots?
Yeah, man, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
the roots drink them. Yeah.
Same, same. So, what about the food? What is your go to? What's your go to food?
My go-to, I'm very simple when it comes to diet. And then of course one of the things with me now is that I have not really been able to embrace the kind of dietary practice that I want for myself, because what I really want to do is to be a raw food, person. So you know, but basically my go-to food right now are soups and stews,
Nice, nice.
vegan soups and stews. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a vegan. I'm a vegan. Probably I didn't tell you that.
Hey, I wish I was, sometimes I wish I ate better. Um, Tell me about a job that you done that you didn't like.
Oh, wow. Well, something. I did a little stint. Because if you're talking about working for somebody, and I've done a lot of that in my life for true. So one of the jobs I had was to work at Citibank as a teller, and that's a job that I did not like, only because of the relationship between management and me. I mean, I wasn't appreciated in the job, and that made it a little bit difficult. So, that's perhaps a job I could say I didn't like. But certainly working with money is not a problem. I enjoy that.
Okay. Tell me about a job you did like and enjoyed immensely.
My first full-time job was working with a research facility in the neurological department at Montefiore Hospital in the Bronx, New York, in polysomnography. So I learned polysomnography. I learned uh, sleep. I learned about sleep, all that kind of stuff. So it was like a work and training job, and it was very exciting, very interesting. Not only for the stuff I learned, but also for the people I met, and the ability to interact with people in those situations as well. That was very valuable for me. So I enjoyed that tremendously.
Good. Um, do you have any hobbies, and do you get to indulge in these hobbies?
Something. Yes, I have some hobbies. Yeah, yeah, the stage of life I am now, and I still want to indulge in especially playing table tennis, which I don't get enough time to play. I love chess, and of course, my first love and first hobby was playing soccer. It was only when I started my family that I really start playing soccer on a regular basis. So those are things I like to do. I definitely don't get enough time to do all of them because survival is a challenge living in the United States of America. And if you want to understand distress, distress can be defined as not being able to engage in your hobbies.
Understood, understood. Do you have any vices?
Something? That's a great question. Do I have any vices? Wow. Yeah. Something? I imagine I must have a vice. Are some vices, but I probably don't recognize them. I'd probably need somebody else to tell me what they are.
No, no, no. I mean, I understand that. I understand that. Definitely, definitely. So,
I definitely don't want to say I don't have any vices. I don't think I have. I'm not. I'm not a prude. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I don't even look at them, when I look at my vices, I don't look at them as a problem. I look at them as an aid to survival, you know?
Yes.
So after a hard week at work, I may want to reward myself with some Ray J and his nephew on a Friday, you know? So it is
But
what it
but let me
is.
ask you a question, Roger. Why would you call that a vice?
Well, the Babylonian system, likes to
Aye.
put things in a little box so other people can use it and judge us, but it's not a vice. So
Oh.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna learn the fact that it's not a vice.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. So let me ask you this. So do you get to read a lot? Any favorite books?
Oh yeah, yeah. I read a lot. And then in terms of favorite books, I don't do a lot of stuff like novels and that kind of stuff. I don't do a lot of non-fiction stuff. Um, I well, did I say non? I don't do I don't do a lot of fiction. Yeah.
Same,
So
same.
basically, what it is, I have books that I read over and over and over again. So basically, I read like from a study perspective. Just to understand stuff that I might have learned a long time ago. I want then to refresh my memory and to see how I've grown in terms of appreciating what I learned before. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's the kind of reading I do, and I don't really settle down on one book. I read like 20 book one time.
You know what I like is the fact that we don't know each other. So when I ask you a question, it's new for
Mhm.
me. So
Yes.
so if you were, what's your vacation of choice? If somebody say, hey, you want to spend some junior time somewhere, where would you go and why?
Why? Something that is such an interesting question. But here the deal now. I love Jamaica. So depending on how the vacation is going to be spent, it would be Jamaica. But I'll tell you this, if I want to check out somewhere, the place that I would want to go to most would be Fiji, the island of Fiji, yeah. If you're
Nice,
somewhere
nice.
other than Jamaica. Or the
You
Fiji
know,
Islands. I think it's like archipelago.
yeah, I think a lot of us don't appreciate that there's some Jamaica's beautiful, but there's some other
Mhm.
islands that are just as, if not even more beautiful, you know?
Yeah, man. In fact, I tell you something. When I see pictures of the Solomon Island and them kind of stuff, there,
Yep,
that's something that just that just give me a feeling like I'd like to be there. Yeah,
yep.
those kind of things. Yeah.
So, Junior, if you're listening to music, who's on replay in a for your car?
Wow. Well, listen. Let me tell you this. I am a reggae music lover. All right, but I could describe myself as a universalist when it comes to music. I don't really have no particular music that I listen to at any given time. But you have two particular artists that I like to listen to. I find them very inspirational. One is a burning spear, and the other is culture. Joseph Hill and culture.
Yep.
Yeah, so those are two artists that I'd listen to. You'd probably hear me playing it in my car. Yeah.
Nice, nice. What about favorite movie, comedian? Any of them?
No, well, in a movie I'm not so good on because something, Roger. My upbringing never introduced me to movies. Some yeah. When I grew up, a lot of people watched went to matinees and stuff. And also, I hear people talk about a lot of these stars and movie and all that kind of stuff. And then when television came to Jamaica, a lot of people used to watch a lot of those television products that used to come out. I never had that kind of privilege, so I was never raised being a movie lover. And in fact, I'll tell you this: it's just in my, in fact, I'll tell you this around COVID. COVID was when I watched the most movies in my life during COVID itself.
Hey,
So,
likewise, likewise, likewise. You know.
so that is that. If you want to say that, that would have been my introduction to movie. So really and truly, it was just a learning experience, just to see, what movie was about and all that kind of stuff. But I
So
appreciate the art of movie making.
nice. So when you went to school in '64 and on, lunchtime, where I eat and where I go?
You ask me some very serious questions here, because in fact, sometimes we have some friends who sit down together and we discuss our lives at school. And one I think that has emerged out of this discussion is that we never realized how similar our experiences were. So, like, there were people who went to school who couldn't afford lunch, and I was one of them. So sometimes we would go home just to pretend that we're going for lunch and come back to school lunchless. So I've always said this, from going to school, and most of the days I went to school, I had just one meal, dinner.
Wow, this is actually common theme that I've been hearing, and a lot of us probably don't even realize that. And what's good about this platform, some of these youngsters need to understand that there's people that run home, go drink water in a pipe and come back come back at school, and that was the way for them.
Yes, yes.
So when you were going to Mannings, how did you get to school?
Well, walk to school. By the time I started Mannings, I was living in a little district named Hatfield. If you know Smithfield, Saver, and those places, if you know Unity, there's a little bush behind Unity there. That's called a Hatfield Housing Scheme.
Yeah, I know it well, man. I
So,
know it well. I think
yeah.
Carmen Brown come from there. Fitzroy
Oh,
Grant come
yes.
from there. A lot of people come from there. Rohan Lawrence Wayne come from there. Yeah, yeah. I went to
Yeah,
Unity. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, yes. And pork soup,
Yep, yep, yep.
the famous Ryan, yeah, is my
So,
neighbor.
So you don't remember eating? So if me said to you where you staple it, it wasn't. Them used to eat patty back in them days. I mean, I don't know the
Oh
origins
yeah,
of
yeah,
patty.
man. Patty and soda and ice cream and cocoa bread, all that kind of stuff was the kind of stuff. And of course, when we went to school, they used to serve cooked meals and that kind of stuff, you know. But I've
In
never
a
had a cook.
Mannings, at Mannings they
Yes,
serve cooked meal.
yeah, man. They used to serve
I
chicken
didn't
and
know
rice
that.
and peas and all them kind of stuff, there, man. Because the history of Manning is a very interesting history, because there are a lot of people who might not understand Manning's reality. I like to tell people that when I went to Manning's was like a well-off institution. It was almost run like, just the way I see the Ivy League school run now. And our canteen was a very sacred space, you know. So to have lunch in the canteen was a privilege. Yeah. If you could afford to buy a cooked meal, yeah, you're well off. And a lot
So
of
so
kids
so let me
today.
let me pivot for you a little bit, Junior. So I always I went to probably, as you can hear a little bit from my accident with my accent, I've been lived in different countries. I've lived in Jamaica for 5 years total. So
Mm.
I'm saying that. So if me not sound 100% authentic, you know why. But
No, man, you're authentic when you're ready, man. Don't worry about
nice,
that,
nice,
man.
nice.
You're
So
good.
that's good. That's good. I like that. I like that.
Mm.
So
And that's what happens, you get versatile when you move around, So hey.
yeah, man, definitely, definitely. So what I want to
God bless you.
ask you is, because I have a little bit of an issue wherein, when I talk to Manning's alumni, and I need you to help me. There is a feeling, and by you expressing the way you feel may trigger other people to feel the same way. But I've been to 8 institutions. I went to Unity School for 2 years. I went to Manning's for three
And
years.
by the way, who was the principal when you went there?
Went to where? Manning's?
To Unity.
Miss Dobson.
Oh, Miss Dobson. Okay, because
Yeah.
I see a little thing on the chat about how wicked she was.
You know, I have a good friend, we call him Elder, him live at Galloway, and him always tell us, every lick we got in Unity School, and he liked this, every lick we got was part of making and shaping, iron sharpen iron. And
Hmm.
Steve McDonald today in the Manning's Past Students group said something about the fact that the licks he got at school shaped and molded him. And I
Hmm.
actually appreciate that. I thought, initially I thought, boy, it's very abusive and slave like, blah, blah, blah. But, the problem with Jamaica was there were certain people that were going to go to high school and certain people that were going to go to a secondary school. And there was a big void in
Hmm.
what they were about. But what I want to know from you, Junior, is giving back. What is that all about? Why are you giving back? Why are you part of a chapter? Why does all the chapters not roll up into one? And and why is every class, everybody want pin them their name pan every little thing? If you sweep up rubbish, you put your school name, your class name pan it. If you buy one doorknob, you know what I mean? Why is it not
Hmm.
all rolled up in one and a common vision and something we all can do and be proud of?
Well, the labeling of projects is a new thing. And basically that basically comes with people learning public relations and all that kind of stuff, and learning how to get credit for things and how to big up themselves and that kind of stuff. That's a pretty new phenomenon. And not especially in Jamaica. It's pretty new in Jamaica. When we grew up, that kind of thing wasn't a big thing. But giving back. Your question is loaded up with a whole lot of issues inside of it. But giving back is one thing. My main concern is maintaining a link to community. I believe in integrating in community and maintaining community. So, for example, whichever school we went to, for whether we go, basic school, infant school, primary school, high school, university, wherever we've gone to. It's good for us to identify our community base. So just like, for example, I mentioned to you that my maternal community base is Beast and Spring. That's my reference. I lived in Hatfield for probably about 5 or 6 years, and that's also a significant reference point for me. I was not fully integrated into that community, but I have a reference to it. I used to live near Hudson Street, and every time I pass through Hudson Street, the people there remind me that that is my community. And so when we, wherever we move to or whatever it is, we need to maintain those kinds of link, and we need to look out for the welfare of the people in the communities that are close to our hearts. So each of us in the practice of sharing and caring for other human beings should identify what is it that we are passionate about in terms of integrating ourselves into community, and depending on what it is, yes, it's not just about giving back to me, it's about maintaining. Because, for example, one of the things people complain about in Jamaica today, the two main things we complain about is we complain about crime, and we complain about health, the health crisis in Jamaica, the fact that we don't have enough hospitals, enough health services, and all that kind of stuff. But guess what? Uh, the expectations of people who left Jamaica are, that who left Jamaica because the conditions in Jamaica were not good enough to sustain them. They expect that when they return to Jamaica, things will be better. And they expect it to be better minus them. You see? So basically, what we recognize, especially from a community level, is that when we have immigration, when we have emigration from communities, we damage communities to the point that the people inside the community become depraved. Why? Because we have lost a part of the vertical construction of the community, so that role modeling begins to dissipate. As role modeling dissipate, we leave less for young people to hang on to. We leave less guidance for them. So young people are no longer guided by adults. Them depend on peer. If you have to depend on peer to guide you all your life, you're not going to be good in your older years. And this is a problem we're having in Jamaica. So I'm not giving back because I want to stay connected to my community. And in this case, when we take on the Mannings thing, basically what we are a group of people abroad who have a common experience. And so out of that common experience, we have to deal with the conditions that are attached to our experience. And unfortunately, one of the problems that's attached to Mannings, which I am telling you used to be a high-end school when I was growing up, and somehow has become a poor school now, we find that it has needs. And that is something that forms a common basis for us to coalesce around. You understand? So that is why a situation like that is useful. And it is important that we understand this, because what it is, a lot of people engage and involve themselves in these kind of movements for selfish reasons. Like, for example, association. A lot of people come join our association because of their political ambition. They just want membership in it and office in it for their resume. They're not necessarily interested in doing anything. And then once they have accomplished that, they're gone. They say goodbye. So what you find is that the association begin to suffer from attrition, because we don't have any commitment to each other and that kind of stuff. And this is something that I personally recommend to even our association. And it is my hope that one day the entire association family will embrace that idea and ideal, so that we can begin to knit ourselves together again.
You know,
It's a uniting force, you know.
and then thank you for that rendition because, at the end of the day, there's a lot of money being collected, enough dance I keep, no fish I fry, the money's rolling up. And you have to ask yourself, why is it, if we all think it's all for the school, why isn't it all going to the school? Why isn't it just all wrapped up? Everybody, one school, one class, one paint one wall, one fix one leak. There's just too much things going
Well,
on.
Roger, you're touching on a very a question with some very sore points in it, you know, because here the deal now. Let me just say this, and perhaps this will suffice. The fundraising system that we have for our school, and not only us, just about every alumni association in Jamaica, their fundraising system is very inefficient. You understand me? We do all of this work, and the people who benefit are the venue owners and those kind of groups. They benefit more than the object of our work. You know, because for example, when we do a fundraiser and we charge $110 for a ticket, and then out of that ticket, the school probably get about $15. You know, wouldn't it be nicer if all I would do is put the $100 and just give to the school rather than have a dance? You understand me?
I
But
agree. I agree.
unfortunately, our people can't think like that because people have other motives when they arrange these things. People want dance, but if you keep a fundraiser and you don't dance afterwards, the people are not coming back next year. You know?
Wow,
You
wow, wow,
understand?
wow.
Yeah, because you say that is the important thing to them. You know, so one of the things that we do not understand as a people is that we don't understand charity or philanthropy. You
Yep.
see, so yeah, so we're doing philanthropy and charity without even knowing what we're doing. I'm pretty sure you're aware of the kind of political breakfasts and events that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party have.
Yeah,
When
man.
them keep a party, then dance or anything like that.
No, not
Yeah.
at all.
When them keep a breakfast, I just some people come together and one microphone up there and somebody talk and them serve the food and them eat and go back home, king.
Yep.
And when they're done and hear how much money make out of the place in a boss. Yeah, you understand me? Yeah. You see, because they understand philanthropy, they understand charity. They understand that it's not about going around and partying and playing. So a lot of time people have events for self-aggrandizement, not if the objective is met, then so be it. And that's why even in terms of doing fundraising, we're doing a gala right now. It's hard work, tough work. For
You
for the
know,
for the
um,
same reasons they're talking about.
you know, I have so I've heard a lot of people say they don't mind giving to the kids, they just don't want to give to the school. I don't know what it's all about. Maybe it's a lot of pasa fool argument. I don't know what it is about, but people will say, "I will take my hard-earned money to help a kid or kids at Unity schools, for example, who don't have lunch to go to school and learn. I will give my money there." But when it come on to put on zinc pan school, they're like, boy, I mean, they don't feel good about it. Have you noticed that at all?
Yeah, and I'm the opposite. I prefer to build the infrastructure. I think though people have those kind of feelings because it's a lack of trust in the people who operate the institution. That's one of the
Right.
problems. The absence of transparency and that kind of stuff. And as well, you know that Jamaica has a hustling culture and a con artist culture as well. So a lot of people, feel like when people raise funds, that they don't necessarily intend to do what they say they want to do and that kind of stuff. So people are concerned about that. So people feel like if them give a child a bread or or a cocoa bread or a patty, I don't want to make sure say that when them give the money, the child get the cocoa bread or the patty. So some people have that kind of feeling, and they don't understand. Once again, they don't understand collectivism and that kind of stuff. And then, of course, because even the operators don't understand collectivism, one of the stories I tell all the time is that in going to school, I always hear about people getting free flour and free cheese and all kind of stuff in school. So for all my years in school, the most I've ever gotten out of that free thing, because the teacher always tells us to bring our bags and all them something, because we all get free stuff. And the most I ever get is some milk powder,
Ready
like
milk.
a little sack of milk powder. Yes, that's all, and
Ready milk, yes, sir.
me don't tell her this, I could even afford lunch. So I was a poor person. But the reason, as I discovered later in life, why I couldn't get into something, because I didn't know anybody in the kitchen or in the distribution department. You
So
understand me?
how are you able to financially, and let me know if I'm getting too personal, tell me if you mind me on where I hit business. How are you able to financially sponsor your education?
That's also a very interesting thing. I have a lady that I am indebted to for the whole of my life. A lady who gave me a great start in life. I was in school one day at South Primary. I think I was in grade 2, and a teacher was walking around asking and making an announcement. She was saying that I'm offering lessons for children who want lessons. If you want lessons, just come see me, and we'll make arrangements so you can join my class and that kind of stuff. Anyway, I went to the teacher and I said to her, "Listen, I want lessons, but guess what happened? My mother can't afford to pay for it. Can I come to your class?" Anyway, the teacher stopped. She looked up in the air, she looked to the left, she looked to the right, and then she bent down and she hugged me up and she said, "Come to the class." And that was my life. A lot of people, when we went to school, I don't know if you know what to do, common entrance. You had to go to a common entrance class. Common entrance wasn't something that you did out of class. We just go to school, and then when you reach grade 5, you just go take common entrance. You had to pay for common entrance classes. I went to common entrance lessons without paying. I
Wow.
just went, and I have Mr. Wanless to thank for that, because I'm never chased no time class. I just went to the back of his class and sat. That's all I did. I never had textbooks or anything. You understand? So, never do homework, never participate in the class, never do, I couldn't hand in work and get my work corrected and all that kind of stuff. I just sat there. You
I heard
understand?
I heard Junior that today, if you're not paying for those classes, I
Mm.
heard there's a big difference between your regular grade 5, grade 6 and the lessons classes that you're talking about.
Oh,
Meaning, if you can't just go school and do grade 5 and 6 and expect to pass PEP or the equivalent of common entrance if you not pay, because the teachers them incentive and in pocket compensation is all about the lessons class. So that's what I'm understanding. People can put on in their comments and tell me say I know sorry go, but that's what I am learning.
It might have been the same thing. It might be the same thing, yeah, because I know, yes, until today, people, um, I tell you this though, my children went to school in Jamaica and they didn't do any special lessons for high school. And, my son went to Campion, and my daughter went to Holy Childhood. So, I
Hey
mean, they didn't
Junior,
have.
come back in the frame. You may I see more of
Yeah.
the ceiling and less of you.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
probably the phone slipping. I don't know, all of that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
from
There
me.
you go, sir. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Authenticity. So,
mm,
Junior, let me ask you this much. Are you religious, and how does religion help you in your life? Talk to me about
mm.
that.
Well, let me say this. I think every single human being is religious. You can't help but being religious. We are religious because we are the product of a cosmic realm that we are integrally related to, no matter what we do. You see? So, um, religious now, just in terms of answering your question, I think you talk about do you believe in Jesus? Do you believe in this particular religious philosophy and that and that? No, I'm not that kind of person. So even though I'm a Rasta, I'm a Rastafarian, I am not a Rastafarian that says His Imperial Majesty is God. Yes, His Imperial Majesty is God, just like how I am God. You understand me? He's not different from me. So as far as religion is concerned, it's a function of how much we recognize our divinity, how much we recognize the God in ourselves. So, from that perspective, yes, I am religious that kind of way, but I'm not religious in terms of going to church and saying Jesus Christ is my savior and that there's a God up in heaven and thank God for this and thank God for this and this and that and that. I live my life a little bit differently in terms of praying and affirmations and all this kind of stuff. I have my own concepts about those things.
Nice, nice. I like to hear that. So, do you remember a time in Jamaica? And I'm gonna give you when I was in Jamaica. So I need you to tell me you're honest. What was going on? I remember around 75, 76, when your parents or older people, whatever you done that was wrong, it was you think you out on Rasta and smoke ganja in my house. When a baby was, and I've said this before, and it's true, when a baby was crying in a bus and a Rasta was in the bus, the mother would tell the baby, if you keep on balling, me make the Rasta nyam you. So, we talk about this white supremacy, but the bossy slave them in Jamaica are still there. And I want to know when you go back to the school as a Rasta, how are you treated from the heart? How do you feel when you see the bossy slave in him suit and tie? How does he treat you? Real talk.
Well, I might have on my suit, no tie though. I don't wear tie because tie represents the noose that the Ku Klux Klan use. So I refuse to wear that. But basically, I tell you this: we have to cultivate the kind of self-esteem that makes us comfortable where we are and don't worry about how other people feel about you. So I don't go anywhere wondering what anybody think about me. I know who I am, and that's what's important to me.
Are you ever treated differently in Jamaica by the bossy slave because him see you with your thumb and your beard as a Garveyite representing?
Yes, absolutely. And depending on where you are, you get treated differently. Some people treat you good, some people treat me bad. I remember one day going through the airport at Norman Manley, and well, yeah, in the days when they were just introducing checkpoints and that kind of stuff, and every checkpoint I go to stop me and search me. Every checkpoint.
Wow.
And after the first man checked me, the second, I said, listen, man, what's going on here? And I'm doing what do you call it again when people I say, listen, you guys must have a
Profile you, them
system
a profile you.
with the prayer. I say, you're profiling me. Eh? I say, what's going on here? Why don't you put some kind of system in place so that when I get checked, you put a note or put some kind of marker on my bag so I get checked. So, the other person have to check me. So anyway, when I reach the plane door, them want to check me again. Yeah, and
What do they
I
look
protested. I said,
Junior, what am I
no.
look for? What am I look for?
Yeah, and I said, no, 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 check me no more. I said, you cannot check one person at every station, and that is okay. You're profiling, so I kind of hold up the plane for about 15 minutes, you know. And people, in fact, the people who I was traveling with, they were the ones who were saying, no, no, come on, just make them search and make we get going, yeah, yeah, hold up the thing and that kind of stuff, you know. But so I've gone through that. I've gone to the airport. I remember one day, going in the airport, and they, you fill out your customs form, and the custom form say, if you say answer no to all of these questions, go to nothing to the clear line. So I'm headed to the nothing to the clear line, and the lady stopped me and said, no, 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 you go over there. And I'm saying, lady, look at my custom. She said, I don't want to hear nothing from you, go over there, sir. I said, lady, the sign, the form say, if you have nothing to declare, that's the line. You must go see all the white people, them a go over there. How come you not stop them? You understand me? She said, I don't care what you have to say, go over there, sir. You understand me? Okay, so I acceded to her demand. But the point is that, when it comes to the system, it works like that. I know something, I had a meeting with the Minister of Tourism about it. Yes, and I told the minister, I said to the minister, Minister, so when me come America, the immigration officer said to me, welcome home, Mr. Blake. And when me come to Jamaica, they treat me like dog. I don't know if you notice that when I go to Jamaica now, the people them say welcome home. You notice that? Ever since I spoke to the minister, every time
Right.
I go to Jamaica, they say that to me. I don't know if it's me personally or they say it to everybody. But that is one change I see. But something, when I walk amongst the small people on the streets, they show a great respect for Rastaman in Jamaica today. Yeah, absolutely.
It's really, I find it really funny that sometimes Jamaica likes to take credit for Rasta when if it was down to Jamaica, I beat, remember them big man, police used to jump off of them little jeep and drape up big man for no reason at all. I remember that in
Abs-
75 and I wasn't in Jamaica that long.
Yeah.
England, a place like England and Europe, make Rasta big. I
Of
know
course,
Jamaica.
not Jamaica.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
come back.
Until today, Jamaica Rasta still bears a big stigma in a great segment of Jamaican society.
Yeah,
Until
even when
today.
you hear of reggae music, dancehall, whatever you want to talk about, if it wasn't for the people them that migrated to foreign, what we call foreign England, that wanted to stay close. Yeah,
Let me tell
Jamaicans,
you.
the Jamaicans used to fight on the music. They wanted to listen to all them American covers, Jim
Yes.
Reeves and all them singing. They them never, they didn't want to hear the music. They didn't want to hear
Let
it.
me tell let me tell you something. One day I was at the airport in Montego Bay. All right, and I knew somebody who worked in the first class lounge. So normally when I travel, I'll go spend time in the first class lounge before I board and them kind of things. But anyway, one day I was leaving the lounge, leaving the airport, and I was introduced to a young lady who was a Mannings Spa student. And the lady who introduced me to her said, "Look, this is a Mannings Spa student. Meet your school, your school, school alumni and all that kind of stuff." Anyway, the lady, the blue blood was very scornful, and in fact, she needed to go to the city center. So the lady suggested to her that she just grab a ride with me since I'm heading out that way. Anyway, she eventually, accepted the ride. But along the way, all that lady wanted to do was to get out of the car. She did not want anybody to see her in a car with a Rasta.
Weird, weird, weird. But
It was a
our
weird
self
situation.
hatred is very evident.
Yeah.
Our self hatred is very evident.
Oh, yes. That's
Yeah,
something we
yeah,
have to
yeah.
work on.
Yeah. And sometimes, we can keep on blaming the past, but there's a time when we have to look in the mirror and realize that we ourselves are putting down our own queens and our kingdoms just because of us now. We can't keep on blaming the system and the Babylonian system for, who we are now,
Well, they are the ones who made self-hatred. Because you see, what it is, Roger, is that a lot of people don't understand what self hatred is. That self hatred really means that when I, Jawara, look in the mirror, I do not like what I see. And the evidence for self hatred manifests in what we see in our society. Look at the amount of people who are changing themselves, wearing other people's hair, wearing other people's things, trying to look like other people, adjusting them body. These are most of them are Christians. They talk about how God bless them and help them and save them and how God love them and this kind of stuff. But and they talk about how great and mighty and powerful God is. But yet they don't like the product that God created. You see what I'm saying? So this is a big challenge, is that people need to understand that self-hatred really begins with the statement, I do not like myself. I do not like what I am. So when you look out, not in the mirror now, when you look out in the world and you see other people who look like you, no, you express your self hatred. And yes, I'm not going to say that we can't blame Babylon for it, because it is a system that taught us to be that way. And, the system will not teach us not to be that way. So one of the things I always tell Steve on his platform, that the solution is in the curriculum. Think about this. We have been independent since 1962, and there's nothing in our curriculum that addresses the integrity of our character. I mean, we have national heroes and all this kind of stuff. They're not in our curriculum. We don't have anything that helps us to understand or transition from chattel slavery to normal slavery, kind of slavery that we are in now. Nothing has been done. The people who are running the country are basically carrying out, just following the blueprint that the colonizer left for us. So basically, we're still in that system. The system hasn't changed. I'm not hearing it. Your voice, the sound gone.
Thank you for that, sir.
Mhm.
Tell me about a low point in your life and how you overcame it.
You know something? I think the low point in my life uh, has to do with my first child. You know, when my first child was born, it was a very happy period for me, and that period lasted for about 3 years, until one day the child's mommy decided that she didn't want me to have any part in that child's life and took off. You know, disappeared, ran away with my son. So that when I look at my life, that's probably the worst thing that I've experienced. I mean, my mom's passing was a low point, and it's a low point only because I wish that I had some more time to know my mother. My mother died at a pretty young age. She was 48. Now that I'm 71, I understand how young she was when she passed. Yeah, so that was, yeah, I don't call it a low point. It was just a kind of awakening for me. It helped me. My mother's passing triggered a lot of desire to explore things that I didn't understand. But yes, my sons, um, but in terms of addressing those kind of things, I recognize that the way to deal with life is that you have to somehow accept your realities, and you have to reconcile yourself with your realities, whatever they are. It don't make no sense. You waste your energy trying to do things, trying to change things that you are totally unable to change. If you can't change something, leave it alone. You have to deal with it somehow. And as well, we have to learn to manage our character and the consequence in our character. If we are able to do that, then we can grow from our most dire circumstances.
Tell me to mind my own business. Have you got talking to your son now?
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The interesting thing is that about About 10 years after uh, the mother took my son away, she called me one day and tell me that she thinks my son needs me. Mm. But
What's really funny, I hear this thing in Jamaica a lot, them
yeah.
everybody talking about single mothers, like
Mm.
with reverence. And no matter where I am, I always say, where is the father? Because sometimes the father leaves the woman because of who she is, but he never leave the child. But the woman insists that for you to have any kind of interaction with the child, your child,
Mm.
you have to deal with her still. And I'm a big proponent. At the end of the day, I understand that there was a time, probably in the 60s, 50s, where the man was working, the women needed to be part of a man and all of this thing. But there's so many things people. I'm a single mother with four babies, four different baby fathers, and I'm thinking, where, how did this happen? Were you not agreeable? Were you not
Mm.
in control of your own needs? What's going on? And I think as men, we, especially men that want to be part of our children's lives, no, there's no credit. We have people that walk and talk, so we don't know use, and we are deadbeat.
Well, I'm gonna answer your question. Two sides to your question. Um, as you mentioned, the deadbeat, not the deadbeat one, as I mentioned, the father who wants to be a part of his child's life. You know, that is a weakness. Whether you want to believe it or not, and I'm speaking specifically about Jamaican situation now. That's a weakness, and whenever a Jamaican woman who is not necessarily formally attached to a man, like in marriage or something like that, when she discover that her man really want a connection with his child, then she decides to exploit it. But then, and in general, we have to be careful how we talk about this subject because it is a very, very, very delicate subject. Remember, we come out of slavery, and basically what happened in chattel slavery is that our family institution was damaged. And once again, I remind you that there were no amelioration measures put in place to fix our families. Until today, there's no sociological institution working to repair families in Jamaica. So we have a lot of problem. And the problem is mix up, mix up, mix up, mix up. It's hard to generalize in any particular way about the causes of the family challenge that we have in Jamaica. Why is it that a lot of kids don't know their fathers? I'm one of those persons who argue that one of the reasons why we have so much crime and violence in Jamaica is because you have a lot of young men, a lot of angry young men in Jamaica. They're angry because they do not know their fathers. Some of them know them father and can't talk to them father. Some of them see them father and can't touch them father. You understand me?
I
Some of
agree with
them
you.
are in
I
the presence of them father and them father not even knows for them pitney that and them knows them father that. All kind of situations. So that's a very, very serious situation that needs to be addressed in a systematic kind of way. And so we have to be careful when we talk about the kind of issues. I don't really get involved with what any woman or person say about why their situation is the way they are. I have the example of my mother's own life to deal with. So something, Roger, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna say this publicly. I have 11 siblings. None of them is a full brother or a full sister.
Wow.
You understand me?
It just so shows how
Mm.
broken
There you go.
our system
Mm.
is. It just
Yes.
shows.
Mm.
Wow, wow, wow. But you treat them all good though. Like
Yeah, man.
are your blood.
Yeah, man. Me love, listen, that when we talk about loving human beings and building relationships, that's a critical part of our endeavor, remember when Rastaman said one love, we mean it, And when we say one heart, we mean it. It's a very, those are very, very powerful, mystical statements.
Yep.
One love. one heart. And so one of the things that especially black people need to learn to do, we have to learn how to love other human beings unconditionally, without judgment. You understand? And yes, we have problems with our family and other people. And what we have to do, we have to figure out how to deal with them without making our circumstances too messy. Yes, we have to do that. And that is why when I mentioned earlier about the need to stay close to community and build community. Yes, we have to do it from the ground up. It's something that hasn't started to build yet. So, when you have one person like me who believe in that, we have to do it with a certain amount of strength and a certain amount of assertiveness.
And
Yes.
and and there's an understanding as well that circumstances cause the single mother situation as well. But the problem I have is we don't talk about why these things are detrimental to how we move forward and how we
Mhm.
fix it. We just assume as though it's a status quo. You know what I mean?
Mhm. You know something, Roger? In our association, I have been a part of the association since its inception. I've been more active in it in the last 20 years or so. And one of the proposals I've made to the association is that we need to set time aside in our association activities to bring members together to talk about issues that affect us individually, collectively, family wise, otherwise, whatever challenges we're having, especially in the sense that we are an expatriate community. And somehow, there's a lot of and fight against that. A lot of people don't want to deal with that. So I'm saying, look, we have to deal with money. It would be nice to have a money specialist come in and talk to us now and again. It would be nice for us to come in and discuss which school are the best schools to send our children to. It would be nice for us to have some expert, or and not even expert, just to share some information amongst ourselves, even in terms of best practices amongst ourselves. These are the kind of things that I think would be necessary. But you see, we are unwilling to do those things because we do not even have a sense of what kind of value those kind of things can bring to us. Because what we are, you hear about the crab in barrel syndrome. Yeah, that's basically how we run our lives. Each of us are just interested in who can buy the Benz, who can buy the house, who can move up into the suburbs, whose people can go to the best college and that kind of stuff. And once we find a way to do it, we don't care about anybody else. But we must move in a direction of collectiveness in order to solve the problems that we have inherited from chattel slavery.
I agree, sir. I agree.
Mm.
Cremation or burial?
Cremation.
Why?
Well, cremation, it's a spiritual thing. Basically, when our remains are left behind, unfortunately, a lot of people are emotionally connected to their remains, and the emotionality that they have is that somehow their remains is themselves. You see, but basically, what your remains are, it's just a carcass. It's a house that you have abandoned, so to speak. And basically, what you can do, you can reduce pollution on the planet and reduce the space that it takes to keep all of these bodies and that kind of stuff around. So I subscribe to that side of the thing. I don't
I
need to
like I like
be,
how you think, sir.
I don't need to be here when I'm gone.
All right. When we die, what happens to us? What do you think happens to us when we expire, sir?
Well, the truth is that we don't expire now. We don't die. There's no such thing as death, my brother.
Okay.
You know, yeah. We live in a cosmic world, a cosmic space that is forever living. So I remember when we go to school, in biology, they'll tell us that yeah, there's a division amongst living things and non-living things. So the mineral life is supposed to be the living, the non-living thing, like the stone or the, or something like that. They say that's not living. But Roger, in this cosmic realm, everything is alive. And in my study of microcosmic science, we base our philosophy and our studies on the atom. Everything is a conglomeration of atoms, and every atom is alive.
Okay.
No atom ever dies. So if the unit in the thing is alive, then the whole thing is alive, true or false?
No, you make a good point.
Yeah, so basically, there's no such thing as expire. So in terms of the human life, it's a stream, it's a traveling stream that changes its role, its position, its occupation. So for example, the human life existing in a body is said to be incarnate. When we so-called die or when we leave this realm, we basically that life stream has basically left that prison that was created to keep us anchored to earth. That's basically what it is. So that life stream moves into new realms, and depending on our level of consciousness, that is what determines what happens to our life stream. Our life stream is seeking to be more and more and more conscious.
So let me ask you this. So when did you realize that you wanted to become Rasta?
You know, when I was about 9 years old, I met a Rasta man because I used to live in a tenement. And the tenement owner used to have a Rasta man who used to come and clean up the property, chop the yard, and that kind of stuff. And so when I met that Rasta man, I would get a little opportunity to reason with him. And the first thing that impressed me as a little pitney is the fact that the Rasta man would talk to me. That's like me as a man. And he would tell me deep, deep situations. He'd tell me about it. So now this is my first exposure to African history, to African family, to a whole lot of things about African philosophy. So every time the Rastaman would come, I would just go there. And when he was sharp, me machete or something like that, he would just talk to me and start telling me some things. You understand me? So based on what he shared with me and recognizing that the man was telling me the truth. Right away, I developed an affinity for Rasta. And what happened is that after that, I just kind of moved in that direction. So wherever Rasta thing was going on, I was a part of it. So I can say even at that point in time, I was Rasta, but already I embraced Africa, I embraced blackness, I embraced love for myself, and I embraced love for Rasta. Rasta, I saw Rasta from then as a wise man. Yes.
That's beautiful. That's
So
beautiful.
yeah.
Um, you know, um, it's only when I get older now, when I look back, I realize the richness that was in front of us, but because of the system, we were held back and taught by our parents, the school system, to hate ourselves one way or another. Even though you see kids can't even go to school with their own hairstyle in Jamaica, it's a problem. So you can see the bosses slave them still working their magic in our home. When you think of the future, Junior, are you hopeful?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, man.
Okay. And another question I have for you is if you were to go back to your youth, if you were to talk to a young junior, 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever you think was a remarkable time, what would you say to that guy?
You know something, Steve. Yeah, if I went back to my youthful days, basically, you know, and that's with the benefit of hindsight, which is 2020. Yeah, I wish I understood human beings a little bit better. I wished I learned how to engage human beings. But then, I also know that the reason why I wasn't communicating as well as I should then is because of the kind of environment and the manner in which I was raised. I was kind of raised on the edge, looking in all the time, and wasn't really connected to a lot of stuff. I didn't have parents who talked to me. I didn't have family members who taught me things. Most of the things I learned in life growing up, I learned on the streets from the elders, just like passing a rum bar and sitting down with them and them outside, I drink a liquor, and them start to tell me, say, young man, do this, don't do that, and that. That's how I learned. And also, even from peers, my peer would tell me what a father tell them and that kind of stuff. That those are the kind of things I learned. So yes, yeah, yeah. I'd want to be better connected to. I want to learn how to build relationships. That is one of the weakness in my life.
I like to say improvement opportunity. I don't like the weakness sound, but
Yeah,
may I allow you.
yeah.
Um,
I take that.
yeah. Did Mannings help shape you at all?
Of course, absolutely. I spent 7 years of my life at Mannings. In fact, even more than that. And so basically, from my life going through first to fifth forms, my interaction with teachers. I had one teacher at Mannings who never liked me. My God, I don't know why, but that woman does have it in for me. Um, Having with my experience with teachers, with other students, and then basically, I had teachers in Mannings who kind of look out for me, especially Mr. Mead was a white teacher. He used to uh, pay special attention to me and show me some ways to go forward in life. Yes, and then of course, being a cadet, yeah, the cadet was a very interesting part of my life at Mannings. That's where I was able to assert my leadership training and my leadership possibilities. In cadet, I achieved one of the things that it's not a historical marker, but basically I was one of the highest ranking cadet in the island, cadet under officer. So I actually rose amongst the ranks of being what other students were. So, like for example, if I went to a cadet camp, I wouldn't sleep with the regular cadets. They would put me to sleep with the officers or to eat with the officers and that kind of stuff like that. So
Nice.
that was a special achievement in cadet. So I learned leadership. Of course, I was a sixth former. I was a prefect. Just as small as thing, a young lady that when I came to Mannings, I was a lab tech. I don't know if you know what that means. I was, while I was in sixth form, I was hired to take care of the general science lab, the physics lab, the chemistry lab, the zoology lab, so forth, so on. Yeah. So, those are the kind of experiences that I had in school. And then, of course, in terms of the disciplines, the academics, that's a whole nother story. I never did my best at Mannings. I did well enough because one of the things that happened with me at Mines, in all my years at Mines, I've never done homework,
Wow.
not one day.
Wow, wow, wow. Hey, so how do you manage your mental health today?
That's you see, I mentioned to you earlier that I'm an esotericist. So
Sorry,
basically,
Junior. That's a big word, and we have a lot of people from all. You're gonna have to break down what a esoteric is, if that's a word.
well, basically, in life there are two sides. There's the side that you can see, we call that the exoteric side, the outside things, and there's a side of life that's unseen. So basically, I
Say
engage
the
in
word
study.
again because I don't want to sound stupid. I want to repeat the word that you said.
Esoteric.
Esoteric.
Esoteric. Esoteric.
Esoteric. Okay, no problem.
That, that's
And
the,
Junior, humor me. I don't wanna. Me don't want people watch this 2 weeks from now and say, "Boy, Roger, you never know that word." Them. If me don't know it, I want to learn it. So that's where I'm
and
coming
that's all
from.
right. That's all right. That's not a problem. That's great. Because guess what? We don't know everything. Okay,
Yep.
none of us. So what it is, as an esotericist and studying the unseen side of life, it helps us to understand the physical dimension of life, because the physical dimension of life has its source in the unseen side. It's just a matter of slowing down vibrations to become to bring things to manifestation. And with that, I'm able to appreciate my reality a little bit differently from what would be had I not had this kind of training. So with that, I manage. I don't have challenges with the mental side of life. And in fact, what interesting experience I have in life, Roger, is that I have a daughter who committed suicide, and
Hey, brother man, I'm
her,
really sorry to hear that. Having a
yeah,
child predecease you is always terrible.
yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't as traumatic as most people would think, and the reason for that is that my daughter has been contemplating suicide for many, many years. You understand me? Before she eventually succeeded, my daughter, as a person, would call me and say, "Daddy, I tried this way to kill myself. I tried that way to kill myself, and none of them work. What kind of suggestions do you have?" you know. And she basically wanted me to tell her herbs that she could use or something like that. And but I'd keep on saying to her, "My daughter, you expect me to tell you how to kill yourself?" But that was my daughter. My daughter didn't want to live, and she became an advocate for suicide. She believed that when people wanted to leave the earth, that we should allow them to go peacefully. She felt that it was cruel to prevent people from committing suicide. So that was her life. We tried to keep her here. We did our best. It didn't work.
You
But the
know,
point I'm making is that I had that close association with what people would call mental illness. And I'm not sure, based on my experience with my daughter, that I can describe that situation as mental illness. I'm not sure how to describe it. But just in terms of managing mind, once again, just like preventing disease, managing mind has the same kind of component. We have to make sure that the physical body, this temple, is nourished in a balanced kind of way. And people will think about it just in terms of food, vitamins, minerals, so forth, so on. No, a very critical part of it is understand how to nourish your body, community with thoughts. You see, so the kind of thoughts we affirm are the kind of thoughts we negate that will determine how firm our mental state is. And I've learned how to do that. So even in terms of talking about the body constituents, and learning how to manage them, we have to learn how to do these things. So we have to learn how to manage our emotional states, our intellectual states. We have to learn how to manage our will, the most important body community member. We have to know how to use the will to control the other aspects of our body, like our ego, our conscience, our memory, our reason, so forth, so on. You understand? When we're able to do that, then we can have a firm, steady, straight mind all the time.
Junior, I have to say this. I'm really, really pleased that you took the time out of your busy schedule to meet with me on this forum. I hope people are inspired by your candid chat with me, and they like and subscribe. I am really grateful that you took the time out and spent and explained who you are, who is Junior Blake. I'm really, really happy that you were able to do that for me. Thank you very much, sir.
And thank you very much for inviting me, Roger. And I'm happy that you felt confident that I could, be a part of your podcast. I don't know why you asked me to be a part of it. I don't know why you thought there was anything important about me. But I hope that our little convo will offer some benefit to somebody in this world.
Real, no real, you know. Oh. Hey, me still have a job in a Babylon. That's why me have to shave and thing, But the mind reach where it need to go. So thanks again,
Yes,
man.
every time, man. Bless.
Cool runnings.
Yes, Anna.